Syndicate 3. My name is Maura.
I'm Harry.
I'm Kalasha.
I'm Marie-Siame.
I'm Ali.
So in this occasion, we're going to do a discussion for like 30 to 45 minutes about business ethics and what have we learned in this class. So bear with us. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. So for the first discussion, we're going to discuss like how do moral foundations inform you about your decision making, especially in the business context. Does anybody have thoughts?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have some thoughts. Most of the time, I think of it as more like a guidance. So when I took the test beforehand, the value that highest for me, it was actually self-directions. And this, I think, show me as a person that very autonomous in how I act as an individual. Always think of myself first, and then the next highest one is hedonism, achievement, and power. So I think these three are basically connected because. All of those three traits actually point me towards someone that always looking for something better in life, increasing my advantages over the other person. Sometimes even without me realizing it, I'm doing it automatically, you know. So like, the more the better. And next one is, I think, stimulation category. This stimulation basically excites me about how uncertain things are around me. So the more options there are and the more uncertain things are around me, the more excited I become. You know, it's just something that I can't help it. And as a team player in our daily lives, I think this actually sometimes good because, for example, like in a group settings, when we are discussing or taking a discussion or decision that needs to be quickly made, sometimes I like to take those decisions upon myself, even sometimes without consulting my groups or my teams and my friends. I think these traits has advantages and disadvantages, right? Because so does everything. The advantages, I think, is we can make decision much quicker, right? It's quickly because we don't need much input or that much discussion and stuff. But the disadvantages sometimes is it's bad because in the long term, as a group, some of us might feel unheard. Their opinion is not considered in the group in the decision making. Sometimes they're not even being asked what they think, right? So I think that's the disadvantages, which is a big one in the long run. And but also this type of trait, I think, is very flexible in its moral compass. I mean that in a way where sometimes I love to simply just justify how I reach something. Doesn't as long as it's good, the results are good, it doesn't matter how I get there, you know, which is also, I think, a disadvantages. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
I think I agree with you because my highest point is also hedonism, but my lowest point is power. In my opinion, hedonism it's really good things because I will try to achieve the highest point that I want. But the disadvantage of hedonism is when we are not thinking about each other people thoughts about what we are doing to do. So maybe it's kind of it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And the power, maybe I have lowest point in power because I don't really care about somebody to want to be in my side or they want to be in other side. So it's really don't matter for me.
Well, I kind of agree with you. My highest value that I discovered with the test was universalism. It's values that tell a lot about my capacity to understand and tolerate others, mainly in business decision and in business transaction. I think like being attentive to people and to their sentiment can lead me to develop my empathy, you know, which is an important competence and capacity during exchange to you know, maybe be a better managerial people. And it allows me also to be very protective about the welfare of people in business organization, actually. And maybe to build like an environment which will be unproblematic and very healthy for people. And in the contrary, my minus point is tradition. So the fact that it is this principle doesn't mean that I don't care about the tradition of others doing a business exchange. Actually, it means that I care a lot about this, but it's just that I don't apply it to my decision making. Like it doesn't enter into which choice I will make, and it doesn't guide my interaction actually. But I really enjoy to hear about new tradition, new customs, and maybe to add it to a new way of doing things.
So, respond to what MS just said. I think I was like the opposite from you. My lowest was also the openness to change, which is the stimulation and self-direction. Because I think me myself was always been the person who comfort of where I am. Like I felt like I could excel on things. I could do things better if I was able to tackle the problems. Like if I were in a new environment and I didn't know what to do, what are the challenges, I think I tend to avoid it. But my highest in my personal thoughts, my highest was hedonism, just like Ali, and then conformity. So I tend to choose the options that are maybe the most profitable to me, and I tend to put other things aside as long as it is made me satisfied. But I am also high in conformity, means that I am high in obedience, and I will comply to whatever policy, to whatever regulation, to whatever the obligations are. So I think in business context, I think if I'm doing like business transaction, like if I'm doing business transaction with Ali, if we have agreement, then I will comply with that. But I tend to like choose options that are most satisfying me. But in general, I think moral foundations is like a guidance or as a compass for us in making decision or actions. You know? So I think it's my opinion.
Okay, so from the previous your opinion, so I have a different point of view from your. So actually, sorry. So I have a different point of view from your previous thought. So in my point of view, so moral foundation and values is something like we have a relationship that influence each other, and also where the moral foundation is something like acts as our understanding as humans to see things and correctly how we can act to each others. And it's help us to act also, and this ability will influence us to how we can make some decision. And actually I have a different example for moral value and moral foundation. When I was work in fashion sector industry, I'm selling batik, and I made sure that the product sold were acceptable to our customer according to the condition and quality offered. And this become very important to us as a producer, because we want to gain trust from our customer, and we want to keep long-term relationship with our customer. So it's something like we can given universalism to our customer. So this experience is one of it's like something effort to maintain our products process in the aspect of care with our customer, and it's like something in Moral Foundation is something like care and harm. It's something like that. So we try to justify the values of universalism, which emphasize understanding and respect all of people. So this will affect business in the long term and how we can develop our business also. So I try to see from the perspective for Moral Foundation is something like care and harm for our customer. So we try to make our customer it's something like gain trust to us, and also for it's something like for the values we try to see for universalism. So we try to care to our customer and gain our trust from customer and develop our business.
So you're saying like the Moral Foundation needed for the company itself to gain more customer trust and loyalty for the employees itself. So
it's something like that.
Okay, guys, that is our discussion for number 1. Yeah.
Now, the second topic is about moral neglect, moral justification, and moral inaction, and about how to avoid those situations in a business conversation. So I'm going to explain a bit more about the definition of those three topics and those three sorry.
It's okay.
Just those three topics. To avoid moral neglect, which means to prevent from the roles and goals to not be too much defined, or in the contrary, not well defined. There is two main ways. For the first one, for role to be more defined. It's if the role are not defined, actually the people of the company won't be able to know how to act and how to make decision. For example, to prevent this, we can put in place like regular meeting and gathering to understand more about the needs of communication and maybe the preferred way of understanding of each employee. We can also write down those goals and be attentive to each other for each employee to well understand those goals according to their own capability. Maybe we can also foster like a caring and attentive work environment in order to get everyone's expectation. And it is very important to maintain a positive environment for everyone, so all the employees can feel comfortable and express their understanding of each situation, and even be very comfortable with their wants and needs. And it is also important to be very careful that every defined goal are clear for everyone and achievable, of course. There is a second way to avoid moral neglect, and it is for the goal not to be too strict. Because if those rules are too strict, the people of the company won't be able to strive, and to innovate. They will be maybe a bit stuck in their position, and won't even be able to contradict an ethical decision. They won't feel free to do so. So maybe we could, to prevent that, define more clear role for the employee to feel free to discuss everything, and to do so we can provide an open and safe place to express each other, like group meetings or more general collaboration in order to discuss each other. Then about the moral justification. This means following kind of blindly decision without any contradiction. You follow the group and you don't discuss any unethical decision. To prevent that, we can also, just at the profession, try to maintain an healthy environment to prevent maybe some pressure to install. We can also promote self-thinkings and reward like the great value and people initiative. We can also maybe do an alternative to the group meetings, because maybe for some people it's a bit scary to talk openly like that. So maybe we can do anonymous meetings or writing down your feelings, So we can do that for a more soft way, but we can also add some clear legislation, in the company itself.
Regulations.
Yes. To avoid, the fear, for example, of being fired if you register, or if you want to report some unethical behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, and for the moral inaction, it's really depends on some hierarchy. Maybe some people are not comfortable with the fact that going forward with denunciation when the hierarchy is too hard and when there is too much fear about their boss, for example. So maybe to prevent that, it's slightly the same as moral justification, and maybe clear legislation and registration can be a good thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that.
Okay.
It's really complex.
Yes, it's really good.
Yes,
Anybody,
really
if you
good.
have...
Yeah, well, I think I have something to say.
Okay.
For me, I tend to take things much personal. I don't
Okay.
really think like on the whole organizational level most of the time. So as you said before, to avoid moral neglects, inaction and justification, sometimes I like to start things with myself first, right? For example, increasing my integrity.
Okay.
Yeah, integrity I think is one of those things that I need to build, so I can confront these issues head on. Why? I think because this could help me in separating about what I'm feeling as a person during my own time and what I'm feeling while I'm with others, with my friends, with my colleagues, and in the team or in the company itself, right? But still, if I have integrity and I can separate these things, I can still keep who I am, but of course not the bad parts, but who I am. But also I can perform, but try to fit in within the team and the organization, among friends, and making decisions and talking about some things, right? Another one is, I think, taking responsibility. Like when we are doing something, I think taking responsibility to ourselves, holding ourselves accountable, I think is somewhat important, right? Because if we have a clear sense of duty to the group, to the company, or to our team and to ourselves, and we have, as I said before, accountability, we have discretion among ourselves as a team, all of this can make us feel more aware when we are on the verge of breaking those ethical things, as you mentioned before. When we're about to do something wrong, if we always think ourselves accountable for, we think, is this wrong, is that wrong, and not always second guessing our choices, of course, but always holding ourselves to a better standard, this could prevent us at least from breaking those things in the first place, right?
Okay.
I think also having like integrity and holding ourselves accountable can push us to act if we see something wrong. And
Yes.
I think that's it from me.
I think I agree with you. In my opinion, integrity is one of the most important things to have in ourselves, because with integrity we can know what things that appropriate to do and what things is not appropriate to do. Even though if we really need to do that, if it's not appropriate, I think we should consider again to do that things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think in avoiding those problems, I think your question is really nice. Like you do the practical what we
Yes.
we really need to implement. But I think I'm more like Harry. Like we need to take it to ourselves first. By, if you say integrity, then I think by taking responsibility more seriously, because in an organizations, they made by responsibility structure, like they made it to avoid or maybe dissect ethical misconduct, like who knew what, who is responsible for what, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And then the second is enhancing our rationalization. Sorry if I'm pronounced that wrong, but what I mean by enhancing the rationalization is we need to be careful in doing rationalization, because sometimes we tend to like if I stole your bracelet, I could say, oh, it's okay, I didn't have money, so I could just stole, but it's not really rationalized. So we tend to over rationalize things, and that could lead to moral neglect, moral justification, or moral inaction maybe in a big scope. So I think we need to be careful in rationalize something. So I think it's my opinion.
Okay.
So in your opinion, that it's not a good thing to do bad things, yeah?
Sorry?
It's maybe like you are telling us about is it okay to take your necklace because we are don't having, because we need it,
Yeah.
but in reality it's not still not a good thing.
For others it's not, but for me, like if I over rationalize something, I would say it's okay, I didn't have money, I need to do something to make me live, but it's wrong. So don't over rationalize. Yeah, we need to be careful on that. It could be tricky.
So basically, we need to start from ourselves, right? Whatever we want to do, whatever we want to change, it's better that we see ourselves first and then look outwards. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, all of your perspective is a good one, I think. So actually, all of my team members have already mentioned about the definition and also what their experience about it. So actually, I have experience too about moral neglected, moral justification, and also moral indolence. So actually, when I was work as an intern in a tax service office, at the time I was responsible for tax auditor or tax inspector. So moral neglect, moral justification, and moral inaction often occur in this company, which stands for criminal acts of how criminalism can be happen in their company. So actually, it's something like a corruption in there. It's the news. It's already common right now. You know, it's happening. Like whoa, all of people mention about it. So actually, because I'm a tax auditor in there, so you know, for moral neglect, it's something like the tax that we as social people that have already paid to the tax office, it has to be delivered to ourselves too. I mean, for public transportation or public services or something like that. So it's something like the money is being manipulated, so the data is being manipulated. So the employee is manipulated data and they can gain more money from them. So it's something like they covered the data, and also it's something like one person just take the action, but more people will get the effect from that. So it's something like all of people will involve because of that. So it's something like it's a moral neglected and moral justification for the example. So if we have to answer how we can avoid that based on instruksi presiden, presidential instruction number 1 of 2011, him instructed about how we can avoid corruption in that company, tax company, and to avoid that, we can something like we can tracing asset of their employee, and they can try to revamping the system of the office tax, and to applicable regulation. They try to see how they can get that money, and also how we can deal with that, so it can avoid employee to get more money from tax.
So like tighten the regulation.
Tighten the regulation.
Tighten the
Something
regulation.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's from the experience that I have. So yeah, for
Yet it's still happening, yeah. The
Yeah.
corruption.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
that's all.
from my perspective.
Thank you.
Thank
Don't do
you.
corruption.
Don't do corruption.
Gerakin mah.
For the next discussion, we are going to discuss about how theory of ethics, like deontological ethics and others, inform us or affect us in a way we decide our action or our decision making.
Yeah.
So, anybody have thoughts?
Yeah, I have some, but not too long, so I'll try. So I think basically deontological ethics is more like setting up a standard for us ourselves as a group. So in the decision making, it helps us to get rid of bias and those things that actually not too important and should not affecting our decision making choices. Yeah. But it should be understood also by others. I mean, it can be accepted by other people. Like if it's bad in general, then it's bad. If it's good in general, then it's good, right? And for like consequentialism ethics, as a group of it or as an individual, I think we should decide on ethical theory, like what's the consequences of said action while making those decisions. For example, like most people probably will agree that lying or stealing is wrong. But if the result of those action is actually good, for the greater good, then it's fine. I think that's all for example and the explanation I can give. And about the virtue ethics, I think it's more like moral value being considered. Not just simply whether the result is good or not, but it's also affects the effect of making those decisions, how people view us on that decisions that we make. So it doesn't really matter is it good, bad, right, wrong, but if people see it's bad, then it has no virtue, then it's bad. I think that's it for me.
I think I have an opinion in deontological ethics. I think if we are apply deontological ethics when we are making a decision in a business, it can make our company or our business to be more flexible. So, in my opinion, deontological ethics is the way you make everything is easier. So, everything can be flexible. You can do what you really need. You can do anything what you need. But deontological ethics, it's sometimes maybe it can against the law. Maybe we are really need to consider when we are applied deontological ethics about the consideration about the legal in your country, because there are different law maybe in every country, different law in every different law in every condition. I think it's
It's quite interesting actually.
Yes, and I think like everything you just said shows how much it is important to maintain those deontological decisions, and it is very important like to put a system in place to maintain this. So maybe we can maybe like take very great attention to the way the decision should be made. Like the company should follow a type of code or a guideline, to ensure this deontological ethics among the people and the employees.
Yeah, so like you in deontological ethics, you need to point out your obligations and duties. Like you said, it's like a guideline. Like when we are as a business leader have employees, like we need to pay them right on time.
Yes.
If you fail, then you consider to be unethical in deontological theories. So
you need to have restricted rules and to comply to them.
Something like everything that we have already do, it's something it will more affected to our business, and also we have responsible to our employee also in the business as a leader of or boss. I mean, it's something like that. But Okay, so actually related to all of your point of view. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not louder. So actually, related to all of your perspective, I have something like experience again about related about deontological ethics and about stakeholders theory. It's when I was about 2 years ago. I have experience when I was visited some of mining company. It's located in Sulawesi in Sorowako. It's called PT Vale. So actually, in that company, they have rules that they have to reclamation their ex-mining. It's something like ex-mining land. They have to something like reclamation. So it's like to effort to improve their post-mining environmental condition, and also in order to produce a good ecosystem environment, and also try to better that it was first carried out by considering the potential of minerals that are still left behind, and in accordance with regulation by our governments in Peraturan Menteri SDM nomor 7 tahun 2014. It's about pelaksanaan reklamasi di pasca tambang. It's something like the rules that the company have to do when they have a post-mining industry, and they state that it's something like they try to make sustainability in the mining area, and also they try to involve all of the stakeholders, something like they import soil and what's called, when we try to reclamation, we plan the reboisation. We try to import it from Australia because we have agreement or partnership with Australia, and also we try to involve
reclamation is like when you excavate the land. You have
close
this
again.
So you have like when you close it again, and then you plant trees like that.
You plant trees like that, and we try to involve it's like what is called the
society.
Society to join the program, and we still the purpose is also to sustain their environment, so the mining industry still can develop, and the society doesn't have impact for their activities. Something like that.
Yeah, I think I also have some things to say about what you said before. I think it's almost the same like back in a couple months ago. I also worked in this chrome rubber factory, which basically turned a chrome rubber from like the raw one into a tire making essential ingredients. So and it's export stuff, so basically, and during the process they result in some dangerous waterways. So it's unethical according to it's unethical to the society around, because of course some such processing plant needs a lot of water, so it has to be established around near a lake or a river, sometimes also close to the sea, right? But these waters, you can't actually throw them out once you use them. You have to make them sustainable, you have to because the water is killing bacteria, so you have to put some bacteria to absorb all those chemicals, and then you have to recycle it a couple times. Those recycling process normally you have to use local people, society around the factory, so it's more like we are using their land, more like borrowing or something like that, and then we are giving back to them, right? We are giving job opportunities, so it's more ethical. And of course there are some laws of course from the Ministry of Forestry that we have to comply with that. I think it's almost sounds like the same, right?
It's something like sustainability for society, and also for company also.
Also, and for biodiversity around the river, and I think so.
Maybe it can conclude to the CSR of the company too,
It's related to CSR.
Related to CSR.
So it's like
Something.
it's
Yeah.
like you take the negative externality and you try to do better according to them and to like maybe make a more ecological decision.
Yes.
You
Yes.
use those negativity to do something better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, in the long term, I think some companies or maybe many companies, because they have to adhere to the rules if they want to keep operating, keep selling their
Okay.
product, they need to find better ways to actually maybe instead of recycling the wastewater, maybe they need to find a way to use something that's not water that you don't have to put back to the
Okay.
environment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To find some alternatives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it will be much safer. Because of
Okay.
course error happens from time to
Yeah.
time, right? And yeah, it will ruin and it won't be sustainable for the
Okay.
society around. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I'm curious about the water waste. Is that a strict regulation about that? So, in your experience?
Yeah, in my experience, we take the water sample of the production
Okay.
every one shift. So the factory runs on 3 shifts, so basically 24 hours, right? So each shift lasted around 8 hours.
Yeah.
So after each 8 hours, of course there are some waste. We kept those
Yeah.
waste, right? And we don't just throw them up. We take some sample to determine how dangerous the water is, and then that lab results determine what kind of sustainable steps that need to be taken. Sometimes if we can't actually directly recycle the water, we also required by the government, the law, also again reference to the Ministry of Forestry, to procure those activities to a company that actually has the capability to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything, and sometimes there are of course sometimes the people from the ministry came without notice to inspect
Yeah,
us,
to
right?
inspect the process of
yeah,
water
yeah,
waste. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's really strict, and if you broke one of those rules, it will affect your proper. We talk about those in class, right? Some proper, there's a
It's called proper.
So basically most companies try for blue, because those things you don't need too much. Basically you just have to comply to the rules that already exist. You don't have to go beyond those rules, do better beyond those rules. So but if we are caught even just in one of those things, it could be chemical, it could be water, it could be the air pollution or noise pollution even, they can take away the proper, and we can't produce anything, and we can't sell anything, we can't get like credits from the bank, funding, we can't do anything.
It's like killing our business.
Yeah, so basically that's how I think the government actually putting those safeguard in place to stop us from actually, it's not money, it's not monetary, it's not like you give him like a monetary penalty. No, because some company can just pay it and get away, right? No, you can't do business, you can't produce anything.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I think it kind of resonates with the principle of virtue ethics, because like your company is like kind of mandated to answer to that and to reduce how to say it, like one step at a time. It's a negative externality to be more ethical, but like it's going slower, I think. Like, it's like more implemented in the society. Like it's a principle, main principle of the company to have those kind of virtue ethics.
I see. Yeah, that's quite interesting, guys. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it enough?
I think it's enough for our syndicate.
Yes.
So thank you guys for watching our videos. We hope that our videos can give you more information and give you more education about it.
More insight on
More
some
insight
subjects.
too. Yeah. Okay.
So guys, thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
for watching.
Goodbye.